fucking with me subliminally. They're fucking with me subliminally. Before we proceed any further, let's see what Webster's Unabridged says about the term occult. The term occult can be defined as anything that intervenes between your sight and the light. When I ask people on talk radio, or in expos, or in speaking engagements, I always say, give me a working definition, something that you might purchase that comes between your eyes and the light.
Freedom to choose. Contact lens free trial at Specsavers.
Do you think we'll ever meet them? The woman I married was easygoing, laid back, she's great, go anywhere, do anything, sort of thing, within reason. The woman that I married is back, and it's fantastic.
Cliffs rise over 200 feet. Good for the appetite. Just as well, we'll find over 200 places to eat. Discover another world that's closer to home.
Dear Diary. Weather. Perfect again. Sunscreen. Lasted longer than the bikini.
It's booing one day long. Hours of gorgeous protection with just one application.
In this advert, see how the voiceover, written in text, mocks the Grim Reaper like Hardys for not noticing what's going on around them. That is, chemtrails.
Z tohto naozaj stratíte reč a prestanete vnímať všetko okolo seba. Predplatenou O2 kartou máte SMS-ky do všetkých sietí navždy len za 1 korunu. Tak to si píšte. O2.
Indulge your washing. New Surf with essential oils. It's cool. Indulge your washing. New Surf with essential oils.
What the fuck? What the fuck?
Speaking of accusations, I want to clear up for everybody this whole notion of conspiracy theories, where that phrase was coined, and why people like yourself are painted with that brush.
Yeah, it's an interesting term, again, put out by what they call counterintelligence. And so when word comes out of certain things that are true and are not good for the public, that's what's called intelligence. Something that might be harmful to those who control. And so they have counterintelligence agencies who then pick up the same stuff and then they spin it off into outer space or fantastic stories and literally lead all the followers through a maze of mind control, basically.
Because the time comes during every great plan where enough people are awakened to the plan. The time always comes when a critical moment in the balance is reached. And those who implement the changes to come must counter it. That's called counterintelligence. you take the intelligence which has been gathered by small people, and you take that intelligence, and then they spin it off into outer space. They diffuse it, they negate it, they render it harmless, you see. And that's what counterintelligence does.
And when you come out and just present the basic facts, they'll say, oh, you must be one of those reptilian guys, you know, and ha ha ha. In other words, they throw the baby out with the bathwater. They throw the intelligence out with the ridicule.
Right, yeah.
But that's what they do. They're creating a circus so that those who know the truth, they have the facts to back it up, are mixed into this circus, you see, until you're just, part of this laughing stock.
Right.
And they keep pushing the word conspiracy theory, and I'm saying, hey, here's the facts put out by the big boys themselves.
What is at stake is more than one small country. It is a big idea, a new world order.
After 1989, President Bush said, and it's a phrase that I often use myself, that we needed a new world order.
You were both in Skull and Bones, the secret society.
It's so secret we can't talk about it.
What does that mean for America? The conspiracy theorists are going to go
I'm
on.
sure they are. I don't know. I haven't seen the web.
Number 322?
You both were members of Skull and Bones, a secret society at Yale. What does that tell us? Not much, because it's a secret.
The very word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society. And we are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret societies, to secret oaths, and to secret proceedings. We decided long ago that the dangers of excessive and unwarranted concealment of pertinent facts far outweighed the dangers which are cited to justify it.
Were you a member of Skull and Bones from college and Bush? Were you in the same secret society as Bush? Were you in Skull and Bones? Thank you for cutting my mic. Thank you. Are you going to arrest me? Excuse me. Excuse me. What are you arresting me for? Whoa, 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 whoa. Is anybody watching this? I'm not doing this. I want you to do it. Get off me. Get off me. What the fuck are you doing? Get off me. Hey, hey, listen. What are you doing? What are you doing? What is going on? What is going on? I want to stand and listen to you answer my question. Why are you arresting me for asking? Help! 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 Are you kidding? They're arresting me. What about help? I didn't do anything. Help me! Help me! Help! They're arresting me.
He's got a taser on his chest. I mean, this really is ridiculous.
I didn't do anything. Don't tase me, bro. Don't tase
time and time again about the New World Order. And this is the best chance to begin to establish the New World Order.
Out of these troubled times, our fifth objective, a New World Order, can emerge.
The Project for a New American Century, the think tank, with the report called Strengthening America's Defenses. This is, frankly, a demand for full spectrum dominance by the United States. I think the most chilling aspect of the Project for a New American Century document is this kind of transformation is a revolutionary change and is not going to come, it's not going to happen at all quickly, absent a new catalyst of massive proportions, for example, a new Pearl Harbor.
And I'm telling you, be prepared for a major attack. But it won't be Osama bin Laden. It will be those behind the New World Order. I wonder what Osama bin Laden's targets are supposed to be. And if they don't, if this doesn't materialize in the next 2 or 3 weeks, it will eventually materialize because they haven't succeeded in getting the guns out of the hands of the American people, nor have they succeeded in taking our freedoms away. And so I can tell you with a certainty, they must do something terrible in order to stop this backlash and regain the sympathy of the mass herds of sheeple out there.
So here they have all this massive plan waiting to go, the countries to invade, and it's almost like hoping you'd win the lotto ticket in 2001. And sure enough, the very lotto ticket comes up, an attack on the scale of Pearl Harbor occurs, and it motivates the American people behind them. That's planning. That's very good planning.
Those of you who are smart enough to know what is transpiring here know that these are historic broadcasts, and by making these broadcasts, I have sealed my fate.
And Americans are brilliant at many things, not least of which is turning lemons into lemonade. There is a chance for the President of the United States to use this disaster to carry out what his father, a phrase his father used, I think, only once, and hasn't been used since, and that is a new world order.
The kaleidoscope has been shaken. The pieces are in flux. Soon they will settle again. Before they do, let us reorder this world around us.
Al-Qaeda is to terror what the Mafia is to crime. But its goal is not making money. Its goal is remaking the world.
Let us reorder this world around us.
Its goal is remaking the world.
Let us reorder this world around us.
Let us reorder this world around us.
I had a friend, Nick Rockefeller, who was one of the Rockefeller family, and he, when I was running for governor in Nevada, he came to me, introduced himself to me through an attorney, and we became friends. We started talking about things, and he's the one who told me 11 months before 9/11 ever happened that there was going to be an event. Never told me what the event was going to be, but there was going to be an event, and out of that event, we were going to invade Afghanistan to run pipelines from the Caspian Sea. We were going to invade Iraq, to take over the oil fields, establish a base in the Middle East, and make it all part of the New World Order. And we'd go after Chavez in Venezuela. And sure enough, later, 9/11 happened, and I remember he was telling me how you're going to see soldiers looking in caves for people in Afghanistan and Pakistan and all these places, and there's going to be this war on terror, which is no real enemy, and the whole thing is a giant hoax, but it's a way for the government to take over the American people.
He told you it was going to be a hoax.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. There's no question.
Those weapons of mass destruction got to be somewhere. Nope, no weapons over there. Maybe under here.
Hegelian principle. When viewed objectively from a historical perspective, one can see that the events of 9/11 were the classic setup using the Hegelian principle. George Wilhelm Hegel, 1770 to 1831, was a German philosopher who is today considered one of the most influential thinkers in modern times. Hegel's articulation and teaching concerning successive phases in the consciousness and awareness of man is still part of the bedrock of philosophical teaching. Hegel is known for his theorem, thesis, antithesis, and synthesis. A simplified English translation is problem, reaction, and solution. They secretly create a problem, the general population reacts with fear, and the solution is to transfer power to those who originally created the problem. It is effective and diabolical.
These terrorists kill not merely to end lives, but to disrupt and end a way of life. We're not deceived by their pretenses to piety. We have seen their kind before. They are the heirs of all the murderous ideologies of the 20th century. By sacrificing human life to serve their radical visions, by abandoning every value except the will to power, they follow in the path of fascism, Nazism, and totalitarianism. And they will follow that path all the way to where it ends, in history's unmarked grave of discarded lies.
Let me show you what the enemy really is. But if you understand symbolism, Nazi, fascist symbolism, you will notice on each side of the presidential podium two interesting, perhaps 5-foot high symbols on each side of the podium where the president stands. This is what is referred to as a fasci, a bundle of sticks with a hatchet head. Now, what is the importance of a fasci? This is a symbol of Nazi fascism. The stuff that so many good Americans went to war in Second World War to defend the free countries of the world against Nazis and fascists. And why is the symbol of Nazism, fascism, on the presidential podium where the president stands to give his State of the Union address? We see Roman fasces, the symbol of international fascism. Somebody better start waking up and finding out Bin Laden is not our enemy. This man is not your enemy. Here is the enemy. The symbols of world fascism, Nazism, the mace itself. One needs to understand that in the United States Senate there is a symbol called the mace. This mace is a Nazi fascist symbol. It comes out of the ancient Roman Empire. The fasci symbols of the bundle of sticks with a hatchet head comes out of the Roman fascist system in Europe. So if we have an enemy, you can bet your bottom dollar, here is the enemy.
Our enemies are innovative and resourceful, and so are we. They never stop thinking about new ways to harm our country and our people, and neither do we.
So we knew by the middle of last year that there was going to be probably something called a Reichstag fire episode. And those of you who know about Nazi history probably understand that that means an explosive political episode, terrorist episode, calculated to buffalo the people into accepting the giving up of their rights. Because, ladies and gentlemen, the reality is that throughout the 20th century, most totalitarian regimes have come into place through the voluntary acquiescence of the people. Surprisingly enough, more liberty is lost through the ballot box than through tanks. So what you have to understand is what are the signs, what are the kinds of techniques that are used to create these episodes. We figured by the middle of last year there was going to be a Reichstag fire, there was going to be an episode calculated to try to catapult the American people into a state of panic where they would give up their freedom in favor of tyranny.
We know it's a war game scenario, that it has to do with airline counterterrorism. Why is that important enough to kill for?
Because it's no longer a game.
But if some terrorist group wants to act out this scenario, why target you for assassination?
Depends on who your terrorists are.
The men who conceived of it in the first place. You're saying our government plans to commit a terrorist act against a domestic airline?
There you go. Indicting the entire government as usual. It's a faction. A small faction.
For what possible gain?
The Cold War's over, John. But with no clear enemy to stockpile against, the arms market's flat. But bring down a fully loaded 727 into the middle of New York City, and you'll find a dozen tin-pot dictators all over the world just clamoring to take responsibility and begging to be smart-bombed.
The fact of the matter happens to be that the whole war on terror is a fraud, it's a farce. Yeah, there's a war going on in Iraq because we invaded Iraq. And people over there fighting, But the war on terror, it's a joke, And until we discover what really happened on 9/11 and who was responsible for 9/11, because that's where the war on terror emanates from. That's where it comes from. It was 9/11 that allowed this war on terror to begin. And until we get to the bottom root of 9/11, the truth of 9/11, we'll never know about the war on terror.
How did you feel when you heard about the terrorist attack?
Well, thank you, Jordan. Well, Jordan, you're not going to believe what state I was in when I heard about the terrorist attack. I was in Florida. And my chief of staff, Andy Card, I was in a classroom talking about a reading program that works. And I was sitting outside the classroom waiting to go in, and I saw an airplane hit the tower of a TV. The TV was obviously on.
The president tells us he sees, on an ordinary TV set outside a school classroom, the first plane hit the World Trade Center. He gives the oddly reinforcing detail that, quote, the TV was obviously on, unquote. He continues.
I used to fly myself, and I said, well, there's one terrible pilot. And I said it must have been a horrible accident. But I was whisked off there. I didn't have much time to think about it.
Didn't have time to think about it. As if his being told, time to meet the kids, Mr. President, stops all his thought processes concerning the remarkable image of what he's told us he's just seen on an ordinary TV, on top of all his knowledge of the unprecedented situation from earlier in the morning. But anyway, could George Bush have seen on ordinary TV the first plane hit the World Trade Center? No, he could not have. The footage of that first strike only shows up on television the next day, September the 12th, 2001. It was taken by a French documentary crew that happened to be in downtown New York. The Orlando Town Hall session takes place 7 weeks after 9/11, so it can be suggested Bush confuses the second plane with the first. But how to explain this? We've all seen Andy Card do that. None of this can ever be retracted. It is an interlocking historical record. Why go on at length about this? Because it may one day become the basis for criminal court proceedings.
Later that afternoon, another building at the World Trade Center site collapsed. This time, without a plane ever hitting it. This is Building 7, in the shadow of the Twin Towers. Its collapse was captured on camera from several angles. These are other buildings which were brought down by demolition charges. The collapse of Building 7 here looks similar.
Here on this video, you can actually see what happens. This is looking directly south at where we're standing now. We're down here.
But it does look exactly like a controlled demolition.
I understand why people might think that, and I see what they're saying, but when you learn the facts about the way that the building was built and about the way that it supported itself and the damage that was done from the collapsing towers that preceded it, the idea that it was a demolition just holds no water.
In its provisional report on Building 7, the official investigators suggested the collapse was caused by intense fires that fatally weakened the building's steel frame. But they said this had a low probability and more research was needed.
Fatalities, they're really shying away from that. They have no sense.
5 years on, their final report is still being prepared. It's thought investigators will conclude that the evidence supports their initial theory. The building collapsed. It wasn't demolished.
I remember getting a call from the fire department commander telling me that they were not sure they were going to be able to contain the fire. And I said, you know, we've had such terrible loss of life. Maybe the smartest thing to do is pull it. And they made that decision to pull, and then we watched the building collapse.